Antonio Reed.
Yes.
And Kenny Edmonds. And my friend goes,
Babyface.
that's Babyface. I was like, Babyface who? People always say, where did you start? Did you start as a I'm like, no, I started as a producer. I have always invested in myself, in my education. The heart in Southern hospitality is real. Once I started producing, I kept saying, I could do this for anything. You can pay to learn, or you got to pay to learn.
But either way, you're paying.
Either way, you're paying to learn.
Never Work a Day talks to folks that are pivoting their lives to follow their passions. We talk about pitfalls, misadventures, hilarious and heartbreaking, meet the outstanding individuals, and learn about their continuing journey. I'm your host, Nikki Frankel, purveyor of platforms and creator of play spaces, and I'm so excited to bring you the stories of these extraordinary individuals.
Welcome to another episode of Never Work a Day. I'm Kanani Holder as your host, and today we are featuring none other than my close friend and mentor, Tracey Baker-Simmons. Tracey Baker-Simmons is an Emmy-nominated executive producer and one of the defining early voices of celebrity-driven reality TV. She grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, studying marketing and finance at the University of Memphis, and began her career in musical promotions at Warner Brother Music. Moving next into Atlanta's entertainment scene, she produced national commercials and hundreds of music videos, and developed a sharp understanding of story, talent, culture, and audience. In 2023, Tracey co-founded B2 Entertainment, later changed to Simmons Shelley Entertainment, and went on to create and executive produce Bravo's breakout, iconic hit, drumroll, Being Bobby Brown. A groundbreaking docuseries centered on Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston that became a cultural touchstone like none other on this planet. Her work spans music, culture, storytelling, premium long-form reality and documentary projects, commercial production, and developing the next generation of producers. Please welcome Tracey Baker-Simmons. Hey, Tracey.
Hello.
This is such a long time coming.
That was pretty awesome.
Well, you know, what justice can some words do to the woman who sits before me?
I think you did me good, girl.
Hey, you're trying to do you justice.
Thank you.
It's so much. And we can start off on a high note, which is the U.S. Open. Yes. Boom.
I love.
And this notion of tennis and how much we love tennis and how we went to the U.S. Open party, dropping it like it's hot.
You were drunk.
Oh,
No. I was.
There's video. There's video.
Okay.
Moment of silence there. And I remember D-Nice playing song after song, and we're dancing. And then I would like freeze, not because I'm breakdancing, but because you're like, oh yeah, I produced that. Oh yeah, I was on this. Oh yeah, this one is this. I'm like, yo, that's the soundtrack of my entire life. We're not going to age ourselves.
No.
So I just wanted to start on that high level of if you don't know Tracey, you do know Tracey's work. You just didn't know it was Tracey that worked it. Just wanted to start off there. So let's go black into the beginning.
Okay.
From the very beginning.
Ooh. From how far back are we going?
Your childhood.
Oh, Jesus. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Your childhood in Chattanooga.
Just a little girl from Chattanooga,
The sandbox that then became the production, the Hollywood, the music entertainment sandbox. How did you jump from being a little girl to like, yo, I'm going to do that as a woman in this industry?
Wow.
Houseway.
Listen, I didn't even know the world existed. I'll be very honest. I mean, in Chattanooga, that's not what you're thinking about. I was reading a lot. I spent a lot of time in the library. So I always say divine positioning.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
For your parking space today.
Yes, divine positioning. So honestly, I spent a lot of time in the library. My mother was a bus driver. And she basically allowed the library to be my babysitter.
Smart woman.
And I read J.R. Tolkien, Shakespeare. I read everything because I'm just there. I can leave for lunch to get food. My mom would stop And I'd get on her bus to go do that and come back until it closed. And honestly, I would just take books off the shelf and just read them. And then I actually taught myself speed reading and things like that because I'm like, I just got to get through these books. And there's so many books in here. And how am I going to read all these books? And I didn't even know at the time that was preparing me to be a good producer. I'll often tell people, like, I'm not a writer. I'm not. I'm creative, definitely. But, and I worked on my school newspaper. When I went to college, so I was a pre-med major because that was my mother's dream. And then I got there and I was like, okay, I don't really like this. And I had already, moseyed my way onto the school paper. And, so I was like, obviously I like journalism because I keep finding my way to a paper. And at first I was like a copy editor. And I don't know, people know what that is, but literally we're cutting the paper, the strips, and pasting it down. Hello, people. So it could run the press. Okay.
This is before word processing.
Yes, it was
actual cutting and pasting.
Yes.
Literally.
Literally. And you better get those lines straight. Oh my God. So, so ultimately I left pre-med and went over to marketing. And then I found my way into an Apple lab. So in college, I discovered an Apple computer.
Okay.
And I was like, this is easier. This makes more sense. This Microsoft is the left, right click. I don't even know how to type, people. Can't do that. So I went to my advisor and I was like, I really need to be able to work in that lab. Because at that time, students didn't have their own laptop.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
We didn't even know what that was. It wasn't a laptop. I'm really aging myself.
It's like 40 pounds, if there was a thing.
So he was like, no, that's for accounting students. And I said, accounting? I took a finance class.
You ended up taking, I see where this is going. Go on.
So then I was like, oh, give me the list. Like, what are the classes? And like, I was like, great, I'll take. And he was like, well, do you want a double major? And I was, can I? What does that mean? And
just to get into that Apple lab.
Because I need to use those computers.
There you go.
They were easier.
If that is not.
They were for dumb. Remember their first slogan was, for dummies.
This is so true.
And I was like, perfect, because I don't want to learn all these clicks. I'm literally trying to learn how to type because I had resisted that in high school, by the way. When they said, you have to take a typing class. I said, I'll never be anyone's secretary, so no, thank you.
There you go. I didn't learn how to spell. I learned how to spell check. And once I learned how to spell check, never spelled again.
And there you go.
There you go. You make up the rules.
We have to get through this.
Yes.
So basically, I'm in school, I'm getting this double major. And honestly, from that, I got recruited to do pharmaceutical sales.
Well, there you go.
Yes. And a little bit of thing about Chattanooga. It is 70 miles outside of Atlanta.
Right.
And I always wanted to live in Atlanta. Like I would go to Atlanta for Six Flags and things like that. And so my big thing was, they had a black mayor, right? And when I saw that man, I was like,
what's his name?
Mayor Jackson.
There, I just wanted to shout him out.
Yes. And when I saw him, I was still in, I think, middle school or something. I remember saying to the kids that one day they said, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I said, well, at least the mayor of Atlanta. I could be the president. I was taunting those kids. And they were like, you're not going to be the president. I was like, well, I might be the mayor of Atlanta, so whatever, you don't know. So
love it. I love it.
In a school with like 5 black kids, I'm telling them. In Tennessee,
the whole city.
Don't you worry about that. So
not even the mayor of Chattanooga.
No. I'm moving to Atlanta. And so I love these
sandcastles that you keep building.
I'm like, no, this
up,
gotta
all the
go.
way up.
And so I knew when I graduated college out of Memphis, and I only went there because they gave me a full scholarship. I'm sorry, Memphis, but that's the truth. I wanted to go to Howard.
And we all know I went to Howard.
Yes.
But we were reunited and it feels so good.
Yes, so it feels so good. So, and my best friend went there too.
See?
So basically, I knew, okay, when I graduate, I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm going to live in the district. Like, I have to have an Atlanta, Georgia address because I'm going to be the mayor and you have to live there and it's a certain amount of time period and everything. So, fine, I'll take a pharmaceutical job in Atlanta because I'm going to be the mayor.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Then I get there. First week or so in pharmaceuticals, they said something about me remembering some information about the prescriptions. Yeah. And I'm a real, like, responsible human being.
Yes.
And I said, wait. Let me get this straight. I'm responsible. And they were like, yes. And I said, wait. So the doctor doesn't know. I have to know.
Because you're sales. You're selling it.
Yes.
Right. You're selling it to the doctors.
Yes. And then they said yes. And then I said, and then if I don't know, someone dies. And they said that could happen. And I said, well, if I, and then I was like, no, see, here's the deal. Yes, of course you recruited me. I'm a good tester.
Yeah.
Like I used to take tests for athletes to make money in classes I wasn't even in.
There you go.
I mastered testing and, I'm a smart girl. I read a lot.
I can figure it out.
Yeah. But
yes.
No, I said no.
You said no to that one.
And they said, and I said, I don't even know. I was like, I probably was crazy. It's a great paying job.
And how old were you?
I was 21, 22.
Yeah, pharmaceutical, when that money hits. Ooh,
yeah.
And you walked away?
Well, I was just scared.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want somebody.
That's pressure.
Yeah. I didn't want that, So, so then I was like, look, hey, I got this finance degree. I'm in Atlanta. It's got to be something else. And I had another skill set. Bartending. I'm a very strategic person, right? So they had this restaurant called Houston's. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh, this is in the financial district.
It's fancy.
Yeah. And I had worked there in Memphis. Well, I worked there in Atlanta in the summer. That's a whole nother story. That's my civil rights story. It is like literally, they initially did not, they hired people who had the all-American look to work in what they called the front of the house.
I was actually a hostess at Houston's in Georgetown. So very similar in terms of high-end areas. So yes, I know.
But yeah, so you have a girl like me to thank for that.
You paved the way?
No,
pioneer.
Seriously.
I'm saying.
Because I literally was like, when they told me that in Memphis, they said, all-American look.
That don't mean us.
No. No. Everyone there, all the waitresses and bartenders were blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yep.
And I recognized it in Memphis. So then...
just to let people know, Houston's is a very high-end steakhouse for business, for finance, for government.
It's a great restaurant.
I saw Stevie Wonder had a party there.
Yeah.
Like it's
a good place. And
crazy.
Basically, I was in Atlanta in the summer visiting with my aunt. And I noticed, I was like, well, there's a couple of Black people that work at this one. Let me apply. Because I used to work at Bennigan's, which people don't know, but the two brothers who started Houston's, they worked at Bennigan's and Steak and Ale. They learned everything they did wrong
and then
started their Yes, exactly. And they have very high standards.
Yes.
Yeah, like they do have high standards. I will, say that. And so I got a job at the one in Atlanta. I told them I was leaving school and moving to Atlanta, which I was for the summer.
I mean, yes.
And then when the summer was over, I was like, oh, I have to go back to school. Can I transfer?
There you go.
And they said, why not? They weren't thinking.
And you were a bartender?
Well, I was waitressing and then I
when you
to bartender. Yeah. So they transferred me back to Memphis.
Oh.
And I walked in. Well, my name is my maiden name is Tracey Baker. What color is she?
Right.
No one knows.
No, right. It's not like your last name is Jefferson.
Or anything Shaniqua or whatever.
Right.
So So I go on.
Wallace, last name
Yeah,
Wallace.
none of
The
that.
black names.
I don't know. I don't know where my mother gets this name from. And so I showed up and I said, I'm the transfer from Atlanta. And they were like, looking. And I was just like, you don't even know. My mama got the EEOC on speed dial. If you even think that I'm not going to be working here in front of this house.
In front of house.
Get in my...
Of Houston's house, yes. In your own hometown, too.
Well,
right.
At least my state.
That's what I'm saying.
Where my school is.
Yes.
And bam, they were like, okay. So that is how that happened. And I was able to get that nice job, make a really good money for a college student.
Yes. And
I did bartend and stuff. And so cut back to going to Atlanta, I knew, okay, I have that connect. So at least I can go work there. And guess what? It's in the financial district. I have a finance degree. I'll take my resume to work, have it in my little cubby, and I'll meet some people, give out my resume and get a job. I'll probably...
They tell you not to do at Houston's. I remember they're like, do not
talk
to celebrities.
They was not talking to me. That might have been the rule. I don't know. It probably was. But whatever. You got to talk to your customers anyway.
Yes.
So
you're charming.
Here I am in Atlanta and Houston's. And I'll never forget this. My friend said, I was supposed to get off. I'm friends with the hostess. And she was like, it's one more table. And I was like, girl, man, I got to go.
I got to go. Right.
I just want to go. It's, whatever. A whole nother other story. My partner at the time was a professional baseball player.
Yes.
I really didn't have to be working all these shifts. So I'm like, okay, I need to go. She's like, no, just please. I'm like, okay, whatever. So the table... the guys in the back, they're like, oh, I think that's the dudes from After 7. And I'm like, and who cares? And I don't even know who that is or what that is.
I loved After 7. You're so funny.
4 CDs at this time. I grew up in...
Yes.
No, I own 4 CDs.
Oh, in total.
Period.
Oh.
Yes. I grew up in a religious household. I wasn't even allowed to listen to secular music.
You had to put the subplot in.
Except for outside of my home. And even in college, like, I heard LL Cool J for the first time in college.
Got it.
Like, my girlfriend was like, have you heard this song? And I was like, what is that? Who is that? Oh, my God. Music, dancing, wow. Because
hip-hop.
My mama, I don't even think my mother knew anything about me listening to that. So,
whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, so you literally did not know After 7?
No. I mean, I was like...
I get it.
I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's, you know what I'm saying? So I wait on the 2 guys. And then when I got their card to pay, it said production. Did it say productions or marketing? It said something. And I was like, oh, y'all got a little company. And it said the face. I just remember that part.
Because it's Babyface.
And L.A. Reid.
And his brother, one of his brothers is in After 7.
No,
or
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That's why they thought that. So I was just like, oh, so y'all have a little company. What y'all do? And they were kind of like,
we mean little company.
They were really looking at me like, this girl is a unicorn.
Yes.
And so they were just like, yeah, we got a little company. And I was like, great. Y'all need any... employees, I
got my resume in the cubby.
And then they were like, what? They were in shock. So they just played along. Like, well, maybe, And I'm like, okay, whatever. The guys in the back kept saying, what did they say? What did they say? And I'm like, calm down. They didn't say nothing. I'm trying to get me a real job.
Yes.
Okay? I don't have time for y'all's drama right now.
Right. My business.
Here's their card. This is what it say. They say, they somebody, girl. I'm like, okay, whatever. So they leave. And then and then LA came back in the restaurant because he was like, wait a minute, this girl is black and she do not know who we are.
Right.
And he was like, hey, here's a card. Like, you could come by the studio or something. I'm thinking, studio? What is that? And then I was like, tell me your names. So they told me their names. I went home. I called my girlfriend. I'm like, okay, so I'm with these guys, and they said they have a company, and I could come by. And I was like, so she was like, what were their names? I was like, Antonio Reed,
yes,
and Kenny Edmonds. And my friend goes,
Babyface.
That's Babyface. I was like, Babyface who?
Right. And of all names too, Babyface sounds even more like you're just gassing me. You're like, you're not telling the truth.
I was like, okay, I don't think that's them. I was like, they're not those people. Don't worry about it. And it was funny because they literally, I met with them. I think it was TLC.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They were like, this is a new little girl group we're working on. Then I was
You met that?
Yeah.
You met
and I was like,
oh God.
These are like kids.
Wow.
And then I was thinking, what do these guys do and whatever? And then they were like, and what do you do? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I work there. My boyfriend plays baseball. And they're like, where are you from? Like they were just like, and I was just thinking, why do y'all think it's so weird?
Mm-hmm. And you were in the studio talking like this?
Mm-hmm. And then I remember Kenny said, hey, he was like, yeah, I mean, I produce for like Whitney.
You mean Kenny meening Babyface is talking to you?
Yes.
I think people need to understand this, that you were in the studio with Babyface. Just like, oh yeah, I'm Tracey.
I mean, I didn't know.
I love it.
And I was like, he was like, I produced like Bobby Brown.
And he's explaining his career
Bobby
to you.
Brown and Whitney or something. And then I was like, my friend was like, so how did it go? And then I'm on the phone with my, then boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah. And then they said, I was like, and then one of the guys, he was just a little liar. He's like, man, he produced for Whitney. But I mean, them the only records I got. I was like, and then my friend was like, why don't you look on the CD?
Because you...
like, their names are on the CD.
Yeah, you can cut.
And I was like, okay, but what Google? Is LaFace? We never heard of LaFace because really it was new.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, right.
So
right.
I was like, okay, whatever.
So what year is this?
1991.
Yeah.
And so, and then they were just like, they introduced me to a guy at Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. And I think it really was like, you ain't gonna believe this. We met somebody who's black in the universe.
She don't know.
Who don't know nothing. But she seems smart. And so I met this guy named Dale Hill, and he was like, you want a job in marketing? And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. These two over here lying about stuff, and I'm trying to get to a job.
With their record company.
They did not hire me for their little record company. And so he said, well, if you intern at Warner Brothers with me, then I will hire you in promotions. And I was like, fine, long as I could do my little waiting and bartending on the side, like a couple of days a week, I can see what this is. Mm-hmm. And then he said, let me, was it Dale? It was either Dale or and I call Babyface Kenny because that's how I met him.
Yes.
So I can't think, like I never thought about the artist. Like I started, because he's like really smart.
Yeah, he's a real man.
Yeah. And so he was like, you could read these books. And I was like, what books? And he was like Billboard. And at that time, there was a magazine called R&R. Mm-hmm. He was like, Hitman. You could help you understand the industry.
The industry, yep.
And I was like, okay, great. Mm-hmm. So
You love to read.
Hello?
You speed read.
What? And then I was saw them a few maybe weeks later, and I was going, and he was like, you read those books? And I said, yeah. And he goes, because you sound like somebody who's been in the business for like, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get this job. I'm not trying to play around here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And basically, Dale took me under his wings and started teaching me marketing and promotions. Mm-hmm. And then I got a record bag, and I started having records and going to the club, getting them to play the records, making friends. And then one of my friends, she was working with Usher with vocals. And the first thing, then I was working a year later, I get pregnant with my son. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to do promotions because it's late nights and clubs and and it was Southeast. So I was traveling the Southeast region of the country, like small towns, Florida, learning how we break records in Louisiana and things like that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I was like, I just have to manage it as much as I can in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I'm pregnant with my son, and my friend was like, hey, I want to know, I have a group. I want to bring you over to let you check them out. And if you think they're good, maybe you could introduce them to your boss. I'm like, cool, whatever. Sounds good. I'll do it. Bring them over. It's Escape.
Damn.
They're kids.
Damn.
Like 14. I always say that. I've known Tiny since she was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And and basically, then I introduced them to my manager. And, long story short, they met.
I'm literally singing the song, What I Need From You Is Understood.
Yes, exactly. And then I'm like thinking, well, what am I going to do after, okay, I'm going to have a baby, obviously. And then what's going to happen next? And my neighbors were starting their own little commercial film company. And they were like, well, you could come work with us and help us do marketing, because that's my background. So I was like, okay, cool. And we're there, and I'm helping them put together, like, this is going to be the name of their company. Because they're family-owned an events company, but one of them always wanted to be a filmmaker. But the dad was like, you have to take care of this person, this business of the family, and then you could do your film stuff.
On the side.
Yes. And so they were like, okay, just help us do the marketing and stuff. And I was like, okay, great, no problem. Then we get a phone call one day from a guy named Keith Ward. And he was like, yeah, I heard you guys are starting a film company. And I'm like, yeah, like, how did you get our number? He said the Yellow Pages or something. I don't know. And I said...
Yellow Pages back in the day.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I said, yeah. So what's going on? And he said, but aren't you the girl who worked at Warner Brothers? And I said, yes. And he was like, so you know those artists?
Yes.
And I said, yeah, Tevin Campbell.
Love
but
Tevin.
like, we broke his record, Then it was, Ice-T. It was a lot. And I was like, yeah. Not LaFace. This is Warner.
Warner.
Yeah. Because it was, at that time, it was Warner Electric Atlanta, WEA. And in Atlanta, they had the distribution center because we had records.
Right.
And then we actually graduated to CDs.
This is so true.
And so basically.
So long ago.
And I was like, yeah, okay. So what do you need? He was like, I need a producer. And I was like, well, what would that mean? And he was like, well, because if you could help me meet the artists, because I'm a director, and then I could do their videos, and then basically you're my producer. And then I said, oh, okay. So I was I remember, I'll never forget this. I told the secretary, I said, yeah, I guess I'm going to be a producer. And then she goes, well, what is that? I was like, I don't know. I'm going to go buy a book this weekend.
Right. Speed read through it.
I'm going to
get the Tracey way.
Because I'm going to.
High five.
I was like, I'm not going to tell that guy. I have no idea.
You only said no one time, and that was to pharmaceutical sales. You ain't never said no the rest of your life.
Not saying no. The rest of this felt right.
That's right.
So I get this book called What a Producer Does. I still have that book. And I read the book like, oh, this is what they do. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's finance and marketing, basically. You're selling. You got to manage this money and know what it is, negotiate with the people, take care of the client.
And on time.
Yeah.
On time and on budget.
Well, you have other people to help do that too. The AD really keep the time.
But there you go.
So I was like, okay, cool. I think I could do that. And obviously, if that's, because I knew my relationships had some value.
Yes.
So look here. Now I'm a producer, which is another interesting thing because people always say, where did you start? Did you start as I'm like, no, I started as a producer.
Yeah.
Because that was what they asked me to do.
Literally.
And there I was, And basically, I remember, because back then we had VH1. We had VHS.
Yes.
And 3/4-inch tapes.
Oh, the little.
No, the 3/4 is this big.
I don't think I knew about that part.
Yes. And
I
then
had VHS.
Yeah, see, you didn't know. The 3/4 was more of an industry thing.
We'll see.
Like we used, like if you went to an ad agency or something, like that was the master back then.
Oh, wow.
And I can remember the first time I had to go meet with an agency. Because we still was starting to like, oh, let's try to get commercial work too. I remember saying to the guys, okay, one more time. VHS is a small one.
Right.
3/4 is the big one. They were like, yes, you got it. You got it. Like they said, so when they say, do you have the reel? You can say, yes, I have it on. What are you going to say? I was like, VHS with 3/4. And then I was thinking, somebody probably went to school to learn this. And here I am.
That's right.
Hustling driving down the road, going to the agencies. Because back then Atlanta had some of the offshoots of the bigger ad agencies like BBDO and things like that. They had offices there too.
Yeah.
And so honestly, that's how my career started as a producer and doing music videos and then ultimately commercials. Like my first video in LA was Brandy. And it was her first single. Wow. And then we started to get a reputation for being able to help new artists. They were like, he has this little young producer and yes. And she's really good with the little young talent. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever.
Whatever works.
And I remember too, like, I knew like, oh, okay, do this, do that. But I remember like, I'm always asking the DP, well, how long? And I could tell this guy was getting sick of me. And so I came to New York and went to the Film Academy.
What year is this?
So this is probably 94, 95.
Okay.
Because I was like, okay, you know what? I need to learn a little bit.
And where did you
more.
go? Which school?
The New York Film Academy.
Okay, yeah. They just closed down their headquarters in Union Square, but and NYFA. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went there because I wanted to just understand. Like I wanted to know what these people's jobs.
Yeah.
At this point.
And everybody wanted classes there. I wanted classes there too. Yeah.
And because the thing was, it was like, okay. I mean, and that's another thing about me. Like I have always invested in myself. In my education. Like as soon as I could, I took came to New York and that cost, like put myself in a hotel, have someone take care of my kid. But I was like, okay, I need to learn. Like I didn't want to do these people's jobs. I just wanted to understand so that I'm a better communicator as a producer. And it was funny because after I finished the academy and I came back to work, we were doing a shoot and I said something to the DP. I was like, yeah, that'll probably, I mean, what do you think? You need like 2.5 hours? And he's like, oh, wait a minute. What you know? I was like, hey, don't mind me. I figured this thing out now because I could tell what's going to happen here, how big the setup's going to be. And just understanding what equipment they would need and things like that. So, and the biggest part about a producer is hiring the right team. Like I have a good line producer and everything. And the good thing about being from the South was my voice. In big settings like in New York, when the union people want to come down and yell and they're like cursing from 3 blocks over because they really want me to go away because I'm non-union or something because I'm young and low budget and everything. When they got around that corner and they saw me, they would be like, that's the producer.
Right.
That little girl.
Love it.
And then I'm like, hi. And then they're like, okay, let's figure this out. Because I had this level of like feeling like, okay, she's not trying to take advantage. She's innocent. I'm the girl that didn't know who LA and Babyface was. Come on.
So you I don't want to say play dumb, but you're able to, I don't want to say manipulate a situation. You're able to be savvy. I will say that.
Yeah.
Work it. You're working it.
Well,
all your angles.
The heart in the Southern hospitality is real. Like that's a part of who I am. And so honestly, I bring me to the situation, like even when we were starting out and we had low budgets and no money, I got my mama to cook and do a craft service because I knew like people want to give to people who give. And if you give them a good meal. And you really put some love on it, they realize I'm not trying to take advantage of you. I'm just trying to make this thing work.
You're setting everybody up for success because that's the most important thing because it reads on camera. You can't put your finger on it, but that's why they were like, oh, that girl that had the producer and the stuff that when she worked with the artist, that's what goes into it.
Right.
That's not on that resume. It was not on any of these resumes, but that's what you're working with.
Yeah.
Even your mother sitting here cooking in the back. I love it.
Yes. My mom was doing craft service, making homemade cookies. And like that. She wanted to make it really nice. And, and so.
Did she ever listen to the music?
She did she would just be like, to give us a little side eye. And that's how I met Rico Wade.
Ooh.
I was doing music
Right,
videos.
because, that just happened last year. Yeah.
He passed away.
So sad.
But I met him on a project, and then we were talking. And it was interesting because I always had this idea in my head that once I started producing, I kept saying, I could do this for anything. Like, it wasn't like, because I didn't grow up thinking I was going to be a producer.
Right.
So I kept thinking, okay, I produce or I don't produce. I can do whatever. You know, I'm obviously, you know, I don't went from supposed to be doing pharmaceuticals and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all that journalism stuff I used to do, you know, things like that. So I met him and he was like, I think you should come work with me. Ooh. And I was like, oh, of course. Yeah. Why not? And then he said, I'm going to start my own film company called Red Clay. And you're going to be over with me over my film company. Okay, great. No problem. Sounds great. Sounds like a good segue out of, you know, because I was tired of my director anyway that I was working with.
And notice no resume for any of these jobs. These people come up to you and say you are it. And you get that title and you go to work.
And I go to work.
There you go. That's the formula. That's the Tracey formula.
Yeah, that was a blessing. Yeah, divine positioning.
Divine positioning.
Yes.
So then
and then so I was like, sure. So I started working with him, but he had a label, and so it was like, okay, you got to help me. You could be like my assistant, and I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, my executive assistant. I was thinking, okay, great, whatever. All right, what that pay? Right. Let me see. I don't need a book for that. I can figure this.
Yeah, make it work.
Make it work. Exactly. And so, and it was like, it was funny because he had a house and there was an office above the studio. And he had like this massive studio that they had just built in this house.
That's what Atlanta does.
So this was the new dungeon.
So,
yeah, because the old dungeon was across town. Now he had this house with this dungeon.
And you can talk about Dungeon too in a minute if you want to.
The Dungeon, yeah.
You know, Atlanta, all the rappers, that whole scene. But continue.
Yeah. And so I worked in the office above the studio. So they were smoking down there. And I remember the first couple of weeks on the job, I kept getting like, I was like, I have a lung infection. Like, what is going on?
Right.
Then they kind of was like, okay, we're not gonna smoke while she here during the day. What time does she get off? And I later found out that they used to make fun of me too.
Oh.
Well, but in a cute way.
Yeah,
like they would just be like, hello, Rico, you have a call. You need to blah, blah, blah. And they were like, when is she leave? Because I wasn't from the crew. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
you're the.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
It's who I am.
Right.
Whatever. I don't know. I'm not that.
Right.
You know, what have you. Like, I didn't even, it was so.
You're not rolling blunts with them.
No.
No.
Not at all. And what was more funny is he would because Rico would make a beat and then him or Ray. And then the beat would just play for days, same beat. And I'm like, oh God. And then the song would happen. And then he would say, what do you think? And I remember, I'll never forget, I think it was Cujo or CeeLo. They said, what's she know? Oh! And he said, that's the point. She's the only one around here listens to the radio.
Boom. Boom. She on these streets.
Well, basically, no. He was just like, the audience listens to the radio. The audience doesn't know pitch, tone, none of that. The audience doesn't know that. The audience just knows, is it catchy? Does it feel good to me riding in my car?
Right.
So guess what? She's a perfect focus group. And I was like, exactly.
Yes.
Thanks, Rico. Jesus.
And then, mind you, just unpack the dungeon, unpack CeeLo. We're talking Goody Mob. We're talking like
Andre 3000.
Yes, we're talking a renaissance, a golden era of hip hop.
Yeah.
In the Atlanta region. The South have something to say.
Right, exactly.
Hello.
Yeah, they just got inducted.
You sitting there talking about the dungeon. You were literally working in the dungeon.
Yeah. I was the new dungeon.
The new dungeon?
Because they like to say original dungeon or new dungeon. And I'm like, hey, whatever y'all want to say. Because I don't know if I would have survived the original anyway.
Right.
It was small and tight. I probably would have
been all that smoke.
I would have came up with something like, okay, I work here, but
Remotely?
Yes.
No, remotely.
I would have started
remote.
I would have probably started
Remote.
I would have created remote.
You would have. 1995.
I mean, technically, I was working remotely because I worked at the dungeon and everyone else was at the office.
There you go.
At the main office, except for me. There you go.
You were reporting.
Exactly.
From afar.
And I traveled with Rico and stuff. We had things to do. So
this is so crazy because by that time I started Howard in 97.
Wow.
So Goody Mob was like on heavy rotation. I remember going to Howard and everyone was like, ATL. And I'm from New York. So I had one of your Tracy moments. I was like, what are they talking about? What is this? What is this ATL? But I loved Goody. Like, what?
Yes.
Outcasts,
yeah.
Oof.
Exactly.
All of it.
I know. It's so interesting, right?
So let's skip a little bit to just quickly. I want you to name drop. What have we seen? What have we listened to that has the Tracey touch? I don't know if I have a timer for 1 minute. Just name drop. Just do it.
Okay, Montel Jordan, this is how we do it.
Wow.
Brandy's I Want to Be Down.
Ooh.
Oh God, I'm trying to think of the TLC record. And you know what I would say, like Arrested Development, people forget about
I love.
We did.
Hey.
Everyday People.
Ah.
Yes. And it was it was the first, they were one of the first Black groups to have a world premiere on MTV. And that was our video. Yes. And I will say this too.
Wow.
All that Sprite stuff y'all see. We did the first one, so Obey Your Thirst campaign with Grand Poobah, with Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
Yes.
And Red Alert.
DJ Red Alert.
Yes.
Gone Berserk.
And KRS-One. I'll never forget it. We shot that big thing in a big, in Greenpoint. At the yard, which is now some fancy thing.
Yes, some condo.
Navy Yard, but it wasn't that then. It was a freezing cold place with no heat. I got fined for that. That was kind of like that was a tough lesson. You know, because that's the other part of it too. You know, look, you can go to school and learn all these things, or you can pay to learn. Or you got to pay to learn.
But either way, you're paying.
Either way, you're paying to learn.
And you're all about bending the learning curve.
As much as I possibly can.
From speed reading.
I'm going to read a book. If I can read a book, I'm going to read a book. I'm going to try to take a class and then figure it out from there. I mean, listen, when I did Being Bobby Brown, I never did a TV show before. I never went to a film school. So I literally was watching television, watching the Osbournes and watching Bobby and Whitney on the news and correlating like these two things are the same. It's just that they're getting paid. I'm sure these people are getting paid and you're not. You're the news, this channel is getting paid because people are tuning into the news, which means they're buying some advertising space. Because remember, I went to marketing school.
Yep.
And you could be making some money if you want to just be on the news like that.
I love that as a pitch.
Yeah.
So because how we met was at some event at the in Brooklyn, Freelancers Union, and it was about, you know, being a producer, owning your own story, like these women entrepreneurs that like do what they do.
Yeah.
And Mindy Harts is now a New York Times bestseller. She was on that panel, and you talked about how you got what, $500,000 or something like that
to
you raised?
Start, yeah.
To start, you were like, listen, I'm going to get this camera and I know Bobby and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even know Bobby. I just like my friend who went to Howard, my best friend, we both were marketing and sales people. And she was in pharmaceutical sales. Like she stuck it through.
Right.
She was like, we could play 6 Degrees of Separation. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, we could get to them. And I'm like, okay.
Get to that meeting, Bobby and Whitney.
Yeah.
R&B royalty.
Yes. And so we made a phone call to a friend and said, hey, do you think you have any connects? And he was like, let me make some phone calls.
Yes.
And he basically called and he was like, I have 2 phone numbers for you. And we were like, okay, what you got? He was like, I got a lawyer and a spiritual advisor. And we were like, spiritual advisor for Bobby and Whitney. We said, let's call him.
Yeah, that'd be a good time.
Let's just call and see what that is. What is that gig?
Yeah. What does this even mean?
What does that even mean? And what we were thinking was the lawyer's going to ask for money too fast.
Yep.
Let's get to the spiritual first.
Fun stuff. And get some intel, too.
Yes. It was just connectivity, you know? And plus, if you're going to make a TV show, you need a cast.
That's what I'm saying.
So I was thinking, he could be on the show. He could do that. I don't know. I'm just making this up anyway. I don't even know what you're supposed to do besides film what people do, I guess.
Yeah.
And so had no idea. And the spiritual guy.
And there was no book back then. There weren't really a lot of books on reality TV.
There was no book
for
this.
So new.
There was no book for this. It was just, guess what you do.
All right, so we're closing it, and I'm going to make the executive decision, pun intended, as a producer, Tracey, that we might need to have Tracey back on again of some kind.
I'm so sorry.
No. You don't have. What do you apologize?
I was like, I talk too much, and now.
No, this is great.
Thank you.
Because the lessons that you're sharing with people through your lived experience. Eclipses any one of the titles you've ever gotten. And again, that's a joke, pun intended, about your titles. But it really shows, like, if you have a vision, you might not have all the pieces, all the ducks in a row.
Right.
But just go on that drive, go on that curiosity, go on that knowledge of, like, that confidence of, like, I'll figure it out. Even if I don't know, I'll figure that out.
Right.
And go. And that, to me, is such a beautiful message and lesson for all these people in the industry, people who want to get into the industry as well. So definitely want to follow up with you in another episode specifically about being Bobby Brown. I mean, iconic. That's how we met.
Yeah.
Because you literally were like, if you want to reach out to me, reach out to me. And I ran up to the stage and was like, oh, I'm going to talk to this woman.
Yeah.
And so.
And we became friends.
To this day. So excited.
100%.
Yeah.
I always tell people, I say, look, if you're spiritual and you wake up and you're like, God, order my steps, then you just have to go with what's happening. Even if it feels weird or strange or you're not really sure, if you're being moved in position and nothing is ever lost. Like, from waiting tables at Houston. And honestly, like, there are not a lot of people probably who even work there who know that story about those two brothers. But, like, I didn't just learn their story. I literally, when I was working there, when they would come in the restaurant, I would sit down with them because I was, like, very curious about entrepreneurship. And I would be like, so how does it work? And where are you guys now? And how many more restaurants are you going to build? And they were like, yeah. And then they were in Nashville, and then they were like, we're going to build this compound in Arizona. And then they were explaining their business model of owning the mortgage company and leasing the land that they built the restaurants on, and how they looked at their, how much money that a neighborhood had to be able to, like, they're in position in areas where people can afford to eat there and they could have a certain level of sales every week.
Right.
So I was also curious about people. I didn't know it at the time. Like, oh, you're so curious. You ask people all these questions. That's a great producer. And, cutting into me producing in the reality space. And when I was working with the artists, I mean, that's what made Bobby and Whitney easy. I had experience working with artists already.
Right. And so they felt safe around you, familiar.
Yep.
You could even drop something that a set, a producer, some name that they knew that you knew.
Exactly.
I love it. And you're always setting yourself up and other people up around you for success. So in closing, and we're just going to have you back because we adore you.
Thank you.
Baker-Simmons.
I appreciate you.
We didn't even talk about you being one of the few Black nominators in the Emmys. There's so much more to explore. So just as like a closer, one, what's next for you?
Oh, God, a lot is next. Now I'm stepping into a new era of really like doing docs. I'm going to direct my first doc that's about C. Dolores Tucker, who's a big name in hip hop, whose story hasn't been told.
Yeah.
And I'm also developing some docs. I am stepping into the scripted world, which is where I always wanted to be. So I am working and developing some projects with one of my close friends who's a romance author, Kennedy Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, and doing my own, I produced and created a podcast with one of my closest friends called Innings of Life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also
we talked about this.
Yes.
Yeah. Your mother and my father.
Yeah. Well, that podcast is actually called Twice a Child. And I'm doing that. But the Innings of Life podcast is a baseball player where he interviews other baseball players and they talk about what inning of life they're
You know
in.
what? We did talk about that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have my hands in doing like a lot. Like, honestly, when you first enter the industry, people pigeonhole you to be like, are you going to be a director? Are you going to be a writer? Are you going to be... But now we live in a world where people could be multi-hyphenated.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, I'm a storyteller. And I'm doing it in all the ways that it's done in the business and in the, in the universe. So that's what's up.
And I know that we've been talking about AI and how AI impacts the industry and more work on that. And then, favorite quote or mantra, divine positioning. You have something else?
Nothing is impossible with God.
Well, clearly. You are the walking, talking spokesperson for that.
Favorite.
Hello.
Absolutely.
Nothing's impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
Nothing.
With God.
With God.
With God. That is my thing. Nothing is impossible.
Hilarious.
With me, yes.
You sit there, look at yourself in the mirror. Nothing is impossible with God. And then you're like, yeah, I'm going into that Apple lab.
I got
to. It's crazy. I love it though. I love it. I am front of the house at Houston's. Nothing is impossible with God. Nothing.
Please. Yes.
Love it.
I'm doing a reality show with Bob. I remember telling my sister before I did the show, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a reality show with Bobby and Whitney. I remember telling Babyface Kenny, and he said, you met Whitney Houston? And I was like, no, I'm going to.
There you go. Yeah, because you talked about that too when I met you.
Yeah.
At first it was just Bobby, but Whitney was like, wait a minute. I want in on this too.
She was just like, no, you're not going to be hanging out with my husband by yourself.
I can't.
Yes.
And then just talk, I know that you've launched a masterclass on people who want to be in the TV, reality TV industries.
Yeah.
And
I have a platform called TV Decoded.
That's right. And we talked about it.
Because basically, since I decoded the whole thing, I thought I could help some other people. And then I have two classes. One course that is on the platform now is called The Business of Producing. So I think people don't realize that it's 80% business.
And not just popping bottles.
No, you got to know a little something. And just to help people understand, like how to choose a lawyer, what are you asking for in deals and things like that. So I'm excited about that course. I'm on Substack and I do a newsletter for TV Decoded. I'm doing articles on LinkedIn because I'm really I'm reading what's happening in the business because I'm the speed reader. And then I'm just, basically sharing this information, but also keeping people hopeful because the business is changing a lot.
It is.
Rapidly.
And AI has a lot to do with that, but also the mergers with the streaming platforms.
Oh my gosh. Yes. 100%.
So it's just so much disruption.
Yes.
Simultaneously. Because of the production studios, because of the mergers.
Yeah.
And then AI comes in as well from a talent standpoint, from a production standpoint.
Yeah. And people are just freaked out. Woo. And honestly, look, I started as a person who had a very independent spirit, independent mind.
Clearly, Tracey.
And that is probably going to save me in this wave 100%. And I'm hoping to help others discover that. And everything, because there's money out there.
Yes.
And we just have to find it, and we have to stand fast to the fact that we're going to fight to tell our stories. I've spent most of my career in the urban space with no regrets. I'm happy to be a person who have penned or shared our stories or humanized other artists. It was really cool, like even doing Nelly and Ashanti's show this past year, and hopefully, God willing, we come back for a second season. But even working with them and the trust, like I did T.I. and Tiny, Friends and Family Hustle, it's the trust factor and that means a lot to me, for people to say, that they know they can trust me.
Their stories with you.
Yes, exactly. And they can trust my word, so definitely that means a lot. And that probably comes from my Southern upbringing, I think. And, just my mom.
I was about to say your mama.
Yeah, my mama. Oh my God. Yes, Jesus. So I really, I don't want us as culture, as people, as a people, marginalized voices to give up. I want us to know we belong, our stories matter. We can pen our stories. We deserve that. And basically, no matter how much money and who's buying what and what distribution chains, they're all hoarding or guarding or anything else, that nothing is impossible with God.
That is such a beautiful way to end this. I'm so proud of you, Tracey.
No, thank you. No. Hold my hand. I love you. Sweet girl. Thank you. And our parents are proud of us. Yep.
I know. I end each one when I cry.
I know. I know.
But you and I are so similar. I scroll to the bottom of the internet.
Yeah.
You speed read. It's the same thing, which is, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me no.
Yep.
Yeah. My father would say, let them tell you no.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing. Nothing's impossible. So I would look at myself like, you know what? I have all of this in me. I have all these gifts and these talents.
Yeah.
Daddy said, let them tell you no. Yeah. Go. Same thing. Yeah. Nothing's impossible without God. Go.
Yeah.
And let's see what we can do. Yep. So really, really happy.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Yay. And everybody knows it's Tracey Baker-Simmons on LinkedIn and on Instagram.
It's T. Baker-Simmons.
T. Baker-Simmons.
Yeah. And Tracey Baker-Simmons on Substack.
Yeah, and you're on the TikToks too.
Yeah, I am on the TikTok.
You're on the TikTok.
Yeah, I'm about to do a series with my son on there.
Jacob.
Yeah, we're going to recast all the reality shows.
I might need in on that.
Yeah, you got it. The best of the best. You got to decide.
We didn't even talk about the Potomac Housewives. We didn't even get into that.
No, we got to,
Messy.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you so much,
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I'm Nikki Frankel saying if you do what you love, you never work a day. If you want to see what we're doing, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and TikTok and join the conversation on the Discord. Take care of yourself and those around you. Never Work a Day is produced by Preview Media. Producers are Gina Bouchard, Eleni Simos, and Stefan Vloshki. Our editor is Jasmine Jackson. See you soon.